Vanessa from Crafty Gemini Creates, and in this video tutorial we're making the cutest little pouches you've ever seen. Aren't they adorable? These require a little clip top here that's called jelly clips, and we're going to be talking about the medium size and the small size here today. So let me show you what you're going to need. Here is the jelly clip. This is when it's going to make us the closure for the top of our pouches. And remember that there's always a link in the description box below where you can click and you'll find all the information you need on how to order the different products that I'm using in these tutorials, okay? So we're using the medium-sized jelly clip in this pink color. When you open it up, it comes with the clip itself, a little paper thing, and then inside you got to open this. Don't throw it away. This is where your template piece is going to be for you to cut it out to cut your fabric pieces out of. So because it's just a sheet of paper, I like to back it with some cardstock to make it a little sturdier. So I just have a sheet of cardstock here. Use a regular school like craft glue stick, stick it on the paper, stick it onto your cardstock, and then take your paper scissors or a rotary cutter and you can cut it right out for your template piece, okay? And I already have mine done here. Here is the medium size. This is the one that we'll be using. And then you can see the difference in the small size that I backed with some cardstock as well, okay? The next thing I like to do is take my stiletto and just poke holes in the template piece right here. You'll see where there's the dashed lines for a dart that we're gonna sew into our fabric pieces. So I just put my stiletto in there and poke a hole right at the top. This is gonna help us mark our fabric when we get to that point. So just poke it through right there. All right, so now let's talk about the fabrics and what we need to make the actual body of the pouch. So you're gonna need fabric for the outside of the pouch, the lining, and then also a product called Shape Flex by Pellon, okay? So we have our two outer pieces here. This is what I'm gonna use for the outside. And I've just cut them out using the template piece, lay it right on your fabric and cut it out, okay? I'm gonna show you how to mark these later, so don't worry about that yet. So just cut two pieces out for your outer, two pieces out of the same template for your lining fabric, and then go ahead and cut out two pieces the same size out of the Shape Flex product. And this is a fusible stabilizer or interfacing, okay? And we've cut them here, and we're now gonna fuse the outer fabrics that we've selected to the Shape Flex. So let's head over to the ironing board and do this. The Shape Flex goes to the outer fabrics, not the lining ones, okay? Make sure that the fusible side is going close to the ugly side or the wrong side of your fabrics here. And let's give it a quick press. All right, so now that we're done fusing the Shape Flex to our outer fabric pieces, we are ready to transfer the markings from our templates to our fabrics. So you're gonna wanna flip these over, and I have a sample here I'm gonna show you already. This one already has a Shape Flex on it. So on the wrong side, or the Shape Flex side, we're gonna take our template and lay it right back onto the piece, and I'm gonna use this friction pen here. And what I like to do is kind of just tilt this back, and right where the dashed lines end, I'm just gonna mark my fabric right here and right here. And then the hole that we made in our template piece with the stiletto, I'm just gonna roll my pen in there to transfer that mark down into the Shape Flex side, okay? And you're gonna repeat that for all four pieces, the two outer ones that have the Shape Flex on the back, and then also your two lining pieces, okay? So here I have the two outers, and here's one lining that's done. So let me just show you on the lining one. Line it up as best you can. Transfer here, and round it around in a dot. Same thing on the other side. Here, and round it the little dot. Now we take a small ruler. Where's my little ruler? Here it is. And you're just gonna match up the point to the two outer lines and draw your straight lines. These are just gonna serve as guides so that when we head over to the sewing machine to stitch these darts into place, it'll make it a lot easier to line up. There's one. All right, and there's two. So now to sew these up, because you're gonna have to do it to all your pieces, the idea is that you're going to fold it. So I have it facing, the ugly side or the wrong side of the fabric is facing me, and I'm going to fold it so that where the marks are touching down here, and then I roll it back so that the fold is ending up right where that dot is that we made with the stiletto at first and then with our pen. All right, and that is where you're going to stitch. You're gonna back stitch a little at the beginning and the same thing at the end. And you're gonna stitch these darts straight, just using straight stitches into place on all four of your pieces. So let me show you how to do that here. I'll grab the outer one. And I don't even pin them, I just do it right from here, you know, like at the sewing machine because it's such a small seam. Just hold it with your hand right in place. Back stitch at the beginning and stitch straight down. And that is what it should look like, a little dart right into place. And that's just gonna give it more of that rounder shape at the bottom of the pouch. So let's move these out because I have some samples made already here for you. And so you should end up with 2 lining pieces with the dart stitched down, and then also your outer pieces with the dart stitched down. So now let's put these together to create the body of the pouch. We're going to lay these pretty sides touching, outer to outer and lining to lining, okay? And we're just going to match up around the raw edges. And when you get down here, I don't trim away the seam allowance from the little darts yet. I just put one dart going in one direction, or the seam allowance of it, and the other one going in the other, so they nestle just like you would do your patchwork pieces. And using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, you're going to stitch all the way around just the bottoms and the sides, not the top part just yet. And we're going to repeat that both to the outer and to the lining pieces. All right, so here we have our outer one already sewn up, and I have the sample already done of our lining one right here. Okay, so this is what you should end up with, 2 little pouches, outer and inner. So you're going to turn one of these out because we're going to lay them one inside the other now, and they need to be lined up with pretty sides touching. So if we open up the outer, the pretty sides are on the inside, and I flipped my lining one right side out. So now when I put the lining inside of the outer, the pretty sides of both fabrics are touching. That's really important that you do it this way. So just push it in there with your hand, line up everything as best you can. Take some pins or some wonder clips, and we're going to line up the side seams. And we're going to stitch these together, leaving an opening so we can turn the whole thing right side out. All right, now we're going to head over to the sewing machine, and using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, we're going to start kind of right here where these wonder clips are. We're going to start about here and here. Leave about a 2.5 to 3 inch opening. And we're going to start on one side, stitch all the way around, and come back to the other mark and back stitch there as well, just so that we can leave that opening there to flip the whole thing right side out. So make sure you mark it so you don't forget and stitch up the whole way around. All right, so here we are. We're going to come in here and flip the whole thing right side out. Take your time so you don't break it. All right, once you pop it out, go ahead and push the lining into place and just kind of work everything out with your fingers in there. We're going to take it to the ironing board and give it a good press, especially around the top edges. And with the opening that we have here, that we left open, go ahead and just tuck those seam allowances in and press that into place, because the next step is to top stitch it. Okay. So now we're going to head back to the sewing machine, and we're just going to top stitch all the way around, really close to the outside edge, through all the layers. Here is the body of your finished little pouch. Now the next step is to tuck it inside the jelly clip so we can add that finished closure to the top. Just going to give that a little press. Okay. So here comes this part. There is a channel inside of the jelly clip when you open it where you can tuck in the top part of your fabric right in there, okay, on both sides. And that is basically how we're going to do it. Now to do that, as you can imagine, you can't sew through it. So we're going to glue it. And I love, love, love the ultimate glue. This glue works great fabric on fabric and fabric on plastic. If you look at these samples here, I can tug on this really tightly and it's not going to come apart. So don't worry about that part. If you use this glue, you're going to love it. So let me take this little piece off that's dried on there. Great. So now what we do is you're going to put some glue inside of that channel, okay? And this part, don't get impatient. It's going to take some time to work it in because you can see that the jelly clip itself is a lot smaller than the bag, or the bag top opening. So we are going to work those in kind of like gathers, but we're just going to kind of tuck it in there and push it in with the glue. So when it sets, it'll hold it all in place for us. So I'm going to take some glue in here, and this glue is pretty thick. So here's what I like to do. The little paper thing that comes inside is for you to tuck it in there in case you need to add some additional bulk to help keep the fabric inside of the clip here. But I use it kind of almost like a paintbrush to kind of get that glue really nice and inside of that channel. So let me show you. And it dries clear, so don't worry if you get some on the outside. It's you can just rub it off of the plastic. If it gets on the fabric, it can wash off as well. So I'm just going to drip a little glue and let gravity help me. Notice how I'm holding the clip down. So I have a nice bead of glue going all through there. And I am just going to take this and brush it into place. And you can do it so that it's on both sides of the plastic, on the top and the bottom. You don't need that much either. I have quite a bit here, but really you don't need that much, and it holds really, really well. So we do one side first, okay, instead of doing both so the glue doesn't dry on you. So just smear it around a little bit, and I think that's good. And then we are going to feed the top part of our pouch in here. So this is going to be the pouch this way, okay? So lay it right on whatever side you want it to be. Now to help you put it in there, we are going to use our stiletto again. So I usually will start somewhere in the center, so I get that fed in there, like this. And then just start working your way in there with the rest of the fabric, little by little, little by little. Okay, that's one side. So leave that in place. If you see that you need some additional bulk, you can always tuck this up in there as well. But I am not going to do that just yet, just to show you this is how you would do it. You would tuck it up in there. You can put glue right on there as well. So you can put glue on the paper thing and just push that up there as well. But I'm not going to do that now because I'm still going to use it as my brush for the other side. So let's tuck this back a little bit. Again, put glue in the next channel. And then brush it in there. It's good to get messy every once in a while. It's non-toxic and the glue just washes right off, so you can really have some fun with it. All right, and I'm going to come put it on the inside and tuck it in there just like we did the other side. All right, so that looks pretty good to me. So here are a few tips. It can be a little frustrating, just take your time and work with it. Some of the tips that I find that help me is to start in the center and work the gathers to one side and then to the other without trying to get it to move on you too far, because you still want to keep those side seams going right down the side, and you can line them up with the little knob that's here on the hardware, okay? So you should see that seam line going right down the center. That way you know your bag won't be too twisted on you, okay? And then the next thing is to remember when we top stitched the fabric, I top stitched all the way around the top opening instead of just the section where we left open. What I find that that does is it kind of bulks up that top edge and gives me a little chunkier of a work surface to push inside the channel in here, and that's why I find that I don't need to use this to add additional bulk in here, okay? So I use this as the little brush, and then I find that top stitching all the way around really helps me get the bulk of that fabric in there enough so that it can stay with just the glue. All right, so that's it for this video tutorial. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make this cute little jelly clip pouch. I hope that you'll give the project a try, and if you do, remember to take pictures and upload them because I love to see what you're making from the Crafty Gemini Creates tutorials. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and hit it with that thumbs up below, share it across the different social media sites, and don't forget to click the subscribe button so you won't miss out on any of my future videos. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.